Hello everyone. This is my little debut, first and kind of test episode for the Monkey Island Lorecast. Uh, I know that most of you know that I've had my attempt with the podcast before, and they haven't really been successful, or really successful isn't the right way to put it. I don't really know. Just not very well put together. Not saying that this is very much better put together. It's just kind of its own thing after all. It's mainly to go into lore. Most Monkey Isles podcasts before were to talk about state of the server or Simeon Speaks, if you remember that. That was a little series that I ran where I just kind of go up and talk about the state of the server, if you will. It's that wasn't really much of a podcast. It turned into bona fide VC after about like 10 to 20 minutes. But uh, this is our little introduction episode. Sadly, not joining me today. Our hosts are not with us. The other two hosts, Trebek and Shive, or Tomat, depending on what you know him as. So, I just want to get a little introduction episode done for uh, just future purposes. So if you're listening, you don't really need to listen to this if you want to listen to lore podcasts, unless you just want to hear a bit about me, or you want to know about just a bit of background to Monkey Isles in general and what we're all about besides lore. And I mean, outside lore, I mean like the foundation of the Isles and stuff, because we had a bit of a contentious and strange founding, at least I believe. So, your host here today, Simeon the Wise, Red Navratilova, Simeon, Pigminator, you know me as many things, but I got into the Monkey Isles right when it started. Now, I wasn't with the very first wave around the first few weeks. I joined a bit later on, but I joined just because I saw it on TikTok. I thought it was cool. I saw Lamont's videos, and I wanted kind of provide my own community input to this. And I really think that's something that makes the Alice great. And uh, my character you're most known for is Simeon, very important character and a decent amount of lore. Uh, he's just been my baby, you know. I've been using him for 4 years, well, almost 4 years. I've been kind of developing him. He's a pretty dumb character in a lot of aspects, I believe, but I don't really think that it doesn't really matter too much to me because he's Simeon. It's always been Simeon. Pardon me, Simeon's just kind of there. He does stupid stuff on occasion, and you know he's been a pretty big part of the Isles history. Uh, so, con- I'm sorry, I'm reading this off a bit of a script. When I read script, I'm reading this off a prompt of topics, and I'm just gonna make my way through a list. So, my contributions: I'm the server owner. I'm the maker of this podcast, and the author hopeful of a series of Monkey Isles books. I'm dubbing the Isle of the Seven Apes. Uh, I'm about a third the way finished with it. I'm very excited to share it with you guys once it does get released. I put a lot of work, a lot of passion, many hours, around 40,000 words so far. That's with and without editing. There's a lot I need to change, but there's a lot I need to add still. Uh, but it's been a very fun process. I love getting to work with a couple of the other Monkey Isles members, particularly people who actually read my work, like Luther and Waribar, who give me good feedback on it and give me good ideas for what I want to change. So, explaining how the Monkey Isles started, it's very strange. I did have a little thing. Let me open this. I can kind of go off of this for a little while. Called the Tome of Time in the server, of just kind of like monkey history and like history of the server, well, not server, but like the community, as opposed to like lore as it would be known to you guys. So, the official founding date of, I guess, Monkey Isles would be September 30th, 2020, and the first monkey video was posted by the TikTok account poop underscore ape underscore productions Lamont. And Lamont is probably the most well-known, most important, the most important figure, because we wouldn't have any of this without him. He's our founder. He's our father. he's the big man upstairs as far as the Alice goes. He isn't as evolved as he used to be, but it's amazing to know that we've been founded from him. Uh, and for a while, he just kind of posted TikTok videos of just random monkeys or apes, and he moved gradually from there to introducing the character of Lamont, since at first it was just an orangutan, and he began putting quotes in his videos, such inspirational quotes. Let me read off a few of these, if you don't mind. I don't know if you guys can you hear that? Hold on. I think so. Sorry, that's the Opera GX. It has like a weird typing sound. I'll read off some of his most famous quotes. He had 2 different accounts. Just Poupe was the first one. So, and Lamont the Wise had the more important ones. Win in silence. A lion does not roar after a kill. You can't start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one. Pain is the best teacher, but the worst friend. So, you kind of understand, like, how that started. Just little wise quotes that people found to be insightful, especially, or silly in its own way. Just kind of like the same way people think of Master Oogway and Kung Fu Panda. That he's just kind of like a wise character, but at the same time, he's just a big tortoise. And for that, Lamont would say wise quotes, but he was just a big orangutan on the screen with some typically Asian or Chinese flute music in the background. And a lot of people loved it. That's really the birthplace of our community. And over time, as they got popular, people would begin asking questions and calling him Wise Ape, Wise Master, Lamont, and people would just start catching on and making their own accounts because, hey, this is interesting, it's getting us clicks, and there's kind of a lore going on here. I might want to join this. And the first real members were Lamont's friends, those being Ronan, Gamba, and I don't really know how far along Bilbert came on, but he is a member. And Lamont, these people would just bring like different things to the table, different monkeys, because Lamont was an orangutan, Ronan was a gorilla, and Gamba was also a gorilla, but he was an evil gorilla. I mean, not gorilla, orangutan. Pardon me. He's an evil orangutan. And people just would begin posting TikToks, making the little lore on TikTok, and it would eventually culminate in the first Discord server. Not the current one. There was one before it that was not popular for whatever reason, probably because it had like basically 2 owners instead of 1. But the second server was made by the author of Labao, and a lot of people migrated to that. That's the big one with 800 members. And this is where the Instagram council formed. It's just like the basic, like this is like, if they say it, it goes back in the day. Like if it wasn't Lamont saying it, but the Elder Council did, and the Elder Council being just an Instagram group chat with a bunch of people, that was just the business, you know. So that was started right around the same time as Discord, but it was not really active, I guess. But this is where the story really begins to take off, with the beginning of the Golden Banana, and which is, again, it's more of like simple monkey stuff, where, you know, monkey like banana, golden banana powerful because banana gold. I want golden banana. I kill for golden banana type. I guess that's just kind of how it was. But that was the first real story arc, with Gamba stealing the golden banana and Baboon King wanting to take it, and it was kind of a mess because TikTok arts were a mess, and the same went for the Labaoian War, or Labaoian, or Labaoian Conquest as they're now known, where people would really start picking on the lore a lot more in depth, a lot more like story going on outside just the main, you know, war, where people are having their own kind of conquests and battles. And this is where a lot of people would find it on TikTok, because Labao would supposedly kidnap Lamont, and that would really stir up some stuff in the community. And this would last over the course of a week, beginning, well, a little less than a week, beginning from October 26th to October 31st, with the conclusion of the arc when Labao was killed. Well, for the first of many, many times that aren't really, you know, how they are today. But over this time, people would gradually migrate to Discord, and Discord would be where the lore started to really, really develop, with, you know, a bunch of arcs going on besides the Banana or Lebowskian Conquest. Obviously, those are the big ones because that's where people started. People knew just kind of from TikTok, seeing those videos. But that's really just where it started. And since then, we've kind of snowballed. Obviously, we're not really the same community we were before because a lot of people. Well, obviously, we don't have as many people as we did before, and back in the day, it was a lot more collaborative and not as isolated. You would find someone, you'd role play with them once, and there'd be like major changes to your character. Basically, a lot of what happened with Simeon during the day, because he was originally just like a nomadic sailor, and ended up becoming who he was just because he was kind of going around doing stupid stuff with other random people, and that's how a lot of people's characters were developed. And well, lore was contentious for a while. We didn't really understand a lot of it. By the time of I'm skipping over huge swaths of lore, but by January and February, people would really like try and refine the older lore because of how I guess messy. That's the only way to put it, because it still is kind of messy looking back. Lore is very messy. People did not really catalog it. Sorry, I was just trying to think of like a catalog, or really keep good track of the lore that they're making, what they're doing. The characters, but mostly most of the people who knew about the characters were the owners, the authors or owners of those characters. So we would go back and begin refining that lore, and for a while, it just kind of went over smoothly with random bits of trolling, like random. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. My apologies. This is my first time doing this. I don't really want to do it again because I want to go to sleep. Sorry, Discord notification. But it just this is where a lot of changes began to happen, and the Modern Isles has been really the same, I'd say, since the end of 2021, when the Wari Bar founded the wiki, which now has over almost 800 pages. Let me check. As of the evening of July 3rd, 2024, 787 pages. A lot of people have put their contribution to Isles lore on it. A lot of people have worked on it. This is really where you can delve into the lore. I really like it. It's a really good thing to store. And this is where like the real cataloging and like fine tuning of lore began, because before it was more like word of mouth type thing, or there was a couple server channels that kind of cataloged it with the very very biased point of view of Lebao, since he was the former owner of the server. He was the one who founded this current one, because he was the main. He had to be the main character of everything, and it was kind of a thing where he'd just come in and interrupt an arc, and then it would be about him instead of, which is the root of a lot of old server drama too. Funnily enough. Where's that at? Okay. So, yeah, this is really gonna be it for this episode. I don't know if I'm gonna make another reintroduction episode with the other two hosts, because I wouldn't want to do this for a few days, and I've been getting direct messages from one person that he just asked me when it's going to come out, and it's pretty short. This is 13 minutes. Oh, it's a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be. Well, that's good. I want it to be longer, but it's an introduction. It's the starting point, It's a little building block. Other episodes, what to expect from them, is going to be... I'm sorry if you hear my chair. This is a very crappy chair. Very comfortable, though. The other episodes are going to be scripted, or half scripted, half kind of like this discussion. We're going to have more people talking, which would make it a lot smoother, or like not as stupid, if you want to call it, like I am. So it's... Well, the next episode is going to be about the timeline, just covering the general timeline, not like I did. And it has a full script that I'm writing. The hosts are going to read that up over the course of such and such amount of time, and we're going to transition to a little or probably equal length talking section. We're going to talk about what we read. We're going to talk about some of like the things, since a lot of the people doing this with me have been here since about as long as I have, since the very beginning. We're going to talk about that. We're going to I have big hopes. I don't really think people outside the community are going to listen to this much. I mean, if they want an introduction to lore without having to scour the wiki or ask questions of our horrible server members who hate everyone who's not already a part of the community, they would they might be able to get like a little introduction from here, because I don't know how in depth these are gonna go. Not like a stupid amount of in depth, because a lot of stuff doesn't really have that depth yet. Again, yet. That's my whole goal with the books, is to have like a little our own expanded universe. I've talked about it before. I don't want to talk about it here too much, and hopefully just more and more stuff to the wiki so people can go on their little tangential pieces of lore. So that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. 15 minutes isn't horrible, but expect longer episodes. I'm hoping at least 25 plus in the future. Like, this has been me kind of rambling for a few minutes. I'm gonna probably add some royalty-free music in the background, even though our intro is gonna be copyrighted, and I really hope that I don't get in trouble for that. I full credit to I don't know actually if this is Jeremy Sully's rendition of the Morrowind intro, but it is someone's. I think it's the original from the game. Very good game, and I might just put copyrighted music in the background. I don't know. It depends on what I think fits the vibe, because I don't really like royalty-free background music. But yeah, thank you for listening. Look up for the next episode, hopefully coming out within the next few days to a week. Again, I'll notify the server. I'm hoping this is just gonna be the first introduction. I want to make another introduction so we can go into it a bit better. Introduce our other hosts, which I'm sure most of you already know, but still, it'd be good to get a little talking in with them. But either way, have a good night, good day, good evening. Happy 4th of July if you're listening.